Hello everybody, hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at your severe weather outbreak, which is going to be impacting parts of the south central United States today and part of the early part of tomorrow, which would be Thursday. And then as we get through the later part on Thursday and getting through Friday, it's going to be impacting parts of the Gulf states and also for parts of the southeast here. And we're going to be going over your storm prediction center, and then also we're going to be going over a couple different parameters here and looking at how severe this severe weather could get. You had I believe, a moderate risk, I believe, yesterday, and that was downgraded to an enhanced risk today over parts of the southeast. Now, also one thing I do want to mention, I was not able to upload yesterday. I was having some internet problems. I really wanted to upload, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to because I had some internet problems. Luckily, they got resolved today, so I can upload again, and I'm looking to go for a little bit of an upload streak, and I want to start uploading fairly consistently and starting to upload daily. Now, here is your National Weather Service page, and we have some flash flood watches in effect for northern Montana, as well for Kansas and northern Oklahoma there, and then also for Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, and that's mainly for your severe weather, especially the ones here in the south central United States, and for the southeastern United States. We have some freeze warnings there for a little bit of Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, as well as parts of New York and into southern Connecticut. And then we have a red flag warning in place for parts of southwestern Texas there. And other than that, it is quite quiet except for this freeze watch in effect for, or a frost advisory in effect for eastern Kentucky and eastern Tennessee, as well as western North Carolina and Virginia. Now, here's what the Storm Prediction Center is putting out in terms of their categorical outlook, and they have a slight risk in place in that yellow shaded region, and then we have an enhanced risk there as well, kind of inside of that slight risk region. Now, if you look at your tornado risk, we have a 2% chance in the green, which means that there's a chance of tornadoes, but it's not likely. A 5% chance in the brown, which is where it's getting more likely, and then a 10% chance in that yellow, and then we even have a significant hatched region where you have the chance of seeing EF2 to EF5 tornadoes within that region. So it is definitely going to be a very big potentially tornado outbreak. Now, also, if you're wondering why they actually downgraded the enhanced risk, it is most likely because last week when they had that moderate risk, there was only about 8 tornadoes, which wouldn't really warrant a moderate risk. So I think they're going a little bit more conservative on these categorical outlooks from now on for at least a little bit longer, so that they don't overdo it, because they have been overdoing their convective outlooks for the past couple of days. So I think that's why they actually downgraded their outlook. Now, if we look at your wind risk, we have 5% chance in the brown, 15% chance in the yellow, and a 30% chance in that red region. Now, if you look at your hail risk, we have a 5% chance in the brown, a 15% chance in the yellow, and a 30% chance in the red. And then, kind of just outlining the red region, we have a significant hatched region where we have a chance of seeing 2-inch diameter hail or greater. So, definitely some very large hail could be seen over parts of eastern Texas and eastern Oklahoma there. Now, if we look at what the Storm Prediction Center is doing for today, what we just saw was for yesterday, and now what we're looking at is for tomorrow, which would be the 23rd, and this is going to also span into early on Friday morning. So that's why in the title it's 4/22 to 4/24, because it is going to be going into the early morning hours of Friday. So your categorical outlook, we have a slight risk over the southeast, and then also an enhanced risk there for northern Florida as you get through Alabama, and then also for southern Georgia and southern South Carolina. If you look at your tornado risk, we have a 2% chance in the green, a 5% chance in the brown, and a 10% chance with a significant hatched region there where we have a probability of seeing EF2 to EF5 tornadoes. If we look at your wind risk, we have a 5% chance in the brown, a 15% chance in the yellow, and a 30% chance in the red. Now, if we look at your hail risk, we have a 5% chance in the brown and a 15% chance in the yellow. So not really too big of a hail risk, although I do think you will see a little bit of hail over these regions. Now, something I do want to show you first is your National Weather Service or your Weather Prediction Center rainfall outlook over the next about 3 days, which is basically going to span this entire severe weather outbreak. And you see, we do actually have some pretty high amounts. You see, your key or your legend is on the left side, and we do have any one of those reds. You're seeing about 2.5 inches or more, up to about 4 or 5 inches, and we do actually see a bit of that as we get through northern Louisiana, central Alabama, central and central Mississippi, and then also we see another region there for northern Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, and southern Missouri. So you are going to see quite a bit of rainfall out of this system here. So we're going to start looking at your simulated radar here. Now, your simulated radar, this is going to be showing you where the storms are going to develop and generally what type of storms are going to develop as you get earlier on this severe weather outbreak. As you get through Texas, Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and Louisiana, it's mainly going to be sporadic thunderstorms with some supercells, which may be intense at times, and you'll also have that enhanced risk in place because of those supercells. And then as we transition to the southeast, it's going to turn, especially as you get through Mississippi, Tennessee, and then move east until it hits about Georgia or so, and then the line will start to break off. It's going to be a squall line that's going to be moving through those regions, and then it's going to break off through Georgia and South Carolina to more individual supercells as it starts to lose all that energy in the atmosphere. So here is what your simulated radar is. This is the NAM 3CAM model, and we're going to play it through here. So you see, we do have those thunderstorms pretty spread out, so that is going to give room, potentially some tornadoes here, because you do have so much room for those supercells to develop in. Now, as we continue, this is going to be by this morning. So now this would be in about an hour or two from when I'm recording this, and you're seeing those thunderstorms move across eastern Texas, western Louisiana, and into western Arkansas. This would be about 4 p.m. Central Time here. And as we continue, this starts to move further to the east. You still have those thunderstorms, those training thunderstorms over central Oklahoma. If we loop back, you see there's been thunderstorms over that area for pretty much this entire model run, and they're going to continue. You're starting to see a little bit of some squall lines start to develop, but it's mainly going to break off, and then you start to see more disorganized thunderstorms as we get through the overnight hours tonight. This would be by about 7 p.m. tonight Central Time, and then as we continue, you see that line develop again. That's going to develop over eastern Texas as we get through, just passing into Louisiana and through Arkansas. And this is what the NAM 3CAM model is putting out. And now this would be just about when you're waking up. We'll switch over to your southeastern view of this system. And we see that squall line starting to move through. This would be for Central Time. This would be about 2 in the morning. And as we continue this is going to be right around, for again Central Time, this is going to be around 7 a.m. or so, and we're seeing that squall line start to move through. This could have some pretty good hail, but I don't think the big tornado threat is going to be with the squall line. Again, really with squall lines, you don't see too many tornadoes. You see a couple funnel clouds and potentially areas like this where you see a little bit less in the form of rainfall and it's starting to split off. You could see a tornado within that region, but when you're in the middle of that squall line, I wouldn't really be too concerned for a tornado. I'd be more concerned for that straight line wind damage, trees falling down, potentially power lines falling down, and some fairly large hail to come out of this, because hail is definitely a big component with those squall lines that move through. Now, I'm gonna adjust it here for Eastern Time now, and we have this. This is gonna be right around. This would be about 12 p.m. right around your lunchtime here, and you're seeing those thunderstorms really starting to pop off over areas through Alabama and Georgia, and they're starting to split off. Now, this is where you could get a couple of tornadoes out of this when they start to really split off through Alabama and getting through Georgia here, and then this would be by about 3 p.m. here, and you're seeing some pretty heavy thunderstorms move through central Georgia, and then as we continue, it moves through South Carolina and North Carolina. As we get right around, this would be by about 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and it's starting to move out, but then you have another round of thunderstorms starting to develop. You're getting that Gulf moisture to pop in, and that's going to help to regenerate those thunderstorms, and you're going to see another training band of thunderstorms move through. This would be by early on Friday morning, and then that line eventually moves through, and then we're seeing your next weather system move through on the very northwestern side of your screen. Now, here is your dew points, and this is gonna basically, you really want above 60 dew points, and this is gonna show you how moist it is in the atmosphere. And usually you want above a 60 dew point, and that's right when you get into the pretty much the first shade of yellow is your 60 dew point. And once you get into the 70s, and you might even see some upper 70s and maybe some low 80s, that's where you have some very conducive ingredients for some severe weather to develop. And no wonder you're seeing some severe weather. You have very warm, very moist dew points getting up into the 60s all the way into southern Oklahoma and this is in the middle part of April. So if this was in maybe August, this would be moving all the way up probably into parts of the Midwest with these dew points, because it would be so warm. Now you see those 70 dew points to the south, and this is really going to help fuel your storms. And as we continue this, you start to see 75 dew points, so very moist air. And then you see on the back side we have dew points in the 30s, and you get a little bit further west and you see dew points in the teens and even single digits. So it is going to be a very sharp cold front. Now I'll draw out your cold front for you. We have a cold front that's moving along, and that's where your storms are really going to be set up here. You have a little bit of an occluded front right here attached to this low pressure system, which is going to be hovering right about in central Oklahoma here. And then we have a warm front, which is kind of expanding a little bit further or a little bit further to the west. Let me actually redraw that. Your warm front is actually right here. So that's your setup with this. And as you get into this area, this is where you're really going to have your thunderstorms, because you're in between that cold front and that warm front. Now, let's continue this, and you see we have getting through the daytime hours on Thursday. You're starting to see it's moving into the southeast. We'll move to the southeast view of this, and you see we have again those dew points in the 70s where those thunderstorms are developing, and we have really very far to the north compared to where your severe weather should be for April. You're already seeing dew points into the upper 50s, even some middle 50s. So it is going to be a very moist environment for these thunderstorms to really fuel up. And as we continue, you see those 60 dew points reaching all the way up into Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina. So it is going to be a very moist atmosphere here. Now, finally, I would just want to look at your CAPE values, which is your convective available potential energy, showing you some of your ingredients that you need, and it's basically all in one parameter. And this is basically showing you how much fuel those thunderstorms have. And usually you want above 1,000 CAPE. As you get up into the 2,000, 3,000 range, which is in those yellows and oranges, and 3,000 to 4,000 in the reds, that's where you're really in a good environment for some thunderstorms to pop off. Now, as we continue here, you see, we actually have some reds popping up through central Texas. This would be by Wednesday night, and we see even 5,000, 5,500 over parts right along that cold front that I drew up. And you see right in between, you can kind of tell where that warm front is, and you can also tell where that cold front is. It's a very distinct cold front, and you can tell it's moving to the east. And this is going to be pretty much a very fast system moving through Texas, Louisiana, and all the way into Mississippi within a matter of hours here. Now let's move over to your southeastern view of this, and as we continue, you start to see, especially as you get into Alabama, Florida, and Georgia, we're seeing some pretty high CAPE values also there for southern Mississippi and southern Louisiana. And you can kind of tell just by the way that this looks that you're seeing some of that warm moist air be pulled up from the Gulf, and some of that moist air from the Gulf is going to be able to spawn up some thunderstorms over parts of Alabama, Georgia, and into the panhandle of Florida. And as we continue this would be by Friday morning, and that those CAPE values really dissipate, and you could see maybe some lingering thunderstorms over parts of northern and central Florida here as we continue through the day on Friday. Anyways, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Again, I do want to go on an upload streak, so I'm going to try and upload daily, at least for the next about a couple of weeks, unless I have something that messes up my upload schedule. I'll try and upload daily for you guys, and I hope you guys all stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.